Very good afternoon. You're watching the Midday News on Rajya Sabha Television. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with you, and here are the headlines. Prime Minister Modi charts out vision for New India at the Global Business Summit in New Delhi, says India will be a $10 trillion economy with countless startups, a country that fulfills the aspirations and dreams of all. Centre orders deployment of 100 companies of paramilitary forces in Kashmir. Major crackdown underway on separatists in the state. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley calls Pakistan a rogue state, says India will exercise all options to win decisive battle against Pakistan. Pakistan government says that it has taken over control of the headquarters of Jaish-e-Mohammed. Death toll in Hooch tragedy in Assam's Golaghat and Jorhat increases to 69. 20 of the 120 hospitalized people critical. Victims are all plantation workers of a tea estate. 4-member team to submit a probe report by Monday. And Aero India 2019 Bangalore celebrates women power. Badminton star PV Sindhu flies in Made in India Tejas aircraft, and all-women crew flies the Dornier and Avro aircraft. Women officers to participate in panel discussions at the Yelahanka Air Force Station today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today laid out the vision for making India a $10 trillion dollar economy and the third largest in the world. Addressing the Global Business Summit in New Delhi, Prime Minister Modi said that he wants the nation to have countless startups and be a leader in the global drive towards renewable sources of energy.
That our country can provide adequate opportunities to all its citizens to grow, prosper and excel. We look forward to making India a $10 trillion economy. We look forward to making India the third largest economy. We want to make an India of countless startups. We want to lead the global drive towards renewable source of energy.
The Prime Minister said that his government inherited an economy in complete policy paralysis, plagued by runaway inflation and rising current account deficit. The Prime Minister added that reforms in the last 4.5 years have changed the picture. Change is clearly visible, he said.
The country was facing total policy paralysis. This was preventing the economy from reaching the level which it was worthy of. The global fraternity was worried about the health of this member of Fragile Five Club. There was a perception of surrender to existing circumstances. Friends, it was in this background that our government came to serve the people, and today change is clearly visible.
The Prime Minister said that his government is working hard to create a new India which fulfills the aspirations and dreams of 130 crore Indians. He said that his government caters to all sections of the society, irrespective of their economic profile, their caste, creed, language and religion.
Our vision for New India caters to all sections of the society, irrespective of their economic profile, their caste, creed, language and religion. We are working hard to create a new India which fulfills the aspiration and dreams of 130 crore Indians. Our vision of New India includes addressing the challenges of the future while also solving problems of the past.
Prime Minister Modi said that today, while India prepares to send a man to Mars, it is also ensuring that every Indian has a roof over his head. He said India is building 100 smart cities across the country. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi today also interacted with the representatives from 188 countries who participated in the Kumbh Mela 2019 at Pravasi Bharatiya Bhavan. Addressing the gathering, Prime Minister Modi said that he hoped that India is becoming a greater tourist destination as the world is looking for peace. People from all over the world come to Kumbh without invitation.
असामान्य चीज है कि किसी भी प्रकार की कागज, चिट्ठी, पत्र के बिना हजारों साल से लोग यहां पहुंचते हैं और आप जिस कुंभ को देख करके बड़े प्रभावित हुए हैं, आपके मन को वो छू गया है। लेकिन ये भी आपको पता हो कि पूर्ण कुंभ नहीं है, अर्ध कुंभ की अगर ये ताकत है तो जब पूर्ण कुंभ होगा वो कैसा होता होगा, जिसका आप अनुमान लगा सकते हैं। सांस्कृतिक रूप से भारत में एकता को बहुत बड़ा बल दिया गया है। ये समागम अब एक प्रकार से स्पिरिचुअल इंस्पिरेशन के लिए तो है ही है, लेकिन ये सोशल रिफॉर्मेशन का मूवमेंट का एक हिस्सा है।
He said that the Kumbh is the center for culture and spirituality, and the arrangements at the Kumbh Mela have become the center of attraction.
जो मैनेजमेंट के स्टूडेंट्स हैं, यूनिवर्सिटी हैं, उनके लिए एक केस स्टडी का विषय है कि इतनी बड़ी मात्रा में लोग अपना अपने तरीके से आए हैं, अपनी आदतों को लेकर के आए हैं, अपनी भाषा को लेकर के आए हैं, लेकिन एक ऐसी व्यवस्था जो सबको कैटर कर रही है, सबको संभाल पा रही है और सबकी आशा अपेक्षा को पूरी कर रही है, ये अपने आप में मैनेजमेंट की दुनिया की एक बहुत बड़ी घटना है और विश्व का इस तरफ ध्यान जाएगा। और मैं भारत के विदेश मंत्रालय का, विशेष करके सुषमा जी का हृदय से अभिनंदन करता हूं कि जो कुंभ का मेला, यानी एक त्रास जिसको लगता था हाँ भी ठीक है, लोग आते हैं जाते हैं, लेकिन इसका एक सामाजिक स्वरूप होता है, उसका एक मैनेजरियल एस्पेक्ट होता है, उसमें आधुनिकता होती है, टेक्नोलॉजी होती है, व्यवस्था होती है और श्रद्धा भी होती है, सांस्कृतिक चेतना भी होती है। ये अद्भुत मिलन का कार्यक्रम दुनिया के लोगों ने जब आज देखा है और भारत ने इस प्रकार का ये पहला प्रयास किया है, आपने आकर के हमारे इस प्रयास को सफल बनाने में बहुत बड़ा योगदान दिया है।
And External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj was also present at the event, and addressing the gathering, she said that Kumbh is not only the center of faith, but it is also the center of India's civilization and culture.
ये दृश्य जो आज आपको यहाँ दिख रहा है, ये आज से पहले कभी देखने को नहीं मिला। कुंभ तो पहले भी हुए हैं प्रधानमंत्री जी, प्रयागराज के भी हुए हैं, हरिद्वार के भी हुए हैं, उज्जैन के भी हुए हैं, नासिक के भी हुए हैं। अगर कोई विदेशी नागरिक, खासतौर पे विदेशी पत्रकार उसे कवर करने के लिए आ जाता था तो आ जाता था, पर उसका भी हमें पता नहीं लगता था। लेकिन बाकायदा योजना बनाकर हर देश से एक नागरिक आए, और वो भी भारतीय मूल का नहीं, वहां का नागरिक आए, ऐसा पहली बार आपने सोचा और आईसीसीआर ने उसको अमली जामा पहनाया। आज 188 लोग हैं जिन्होंने अभी आपके साथ फोटोग्राफ किया है। जहां तक कुंभ का सवाल है, ये केवल आस्था का कुंभ नहीं है, ये भारतीय संस्कृति का भी कुंभ है।
And Finance Minister Arun Jaitley has said that India will exercise all options, diplomatic or otherwise, to win a decisive battle against Pakistan, which is responsible for the Pulwama terror attack. Describing Pakistan as a rogue state, he said it is not acting against the perpetrators of the attack, though the guilty have themselves admitted to the attack and were taking credit for it. Referring to Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan's speech, Arun Jaitley said that the head of the government says, "Give me actionable intelligence." You need an actionable intelligence if it is a blind offence. While speaking at the Global Business Summit in New Delhi, he said that it is not a one-week battle. It should be undertaken in various forms. India today is extremely angry, he said, adding that in my lifetime we have seen wars, human tragedies, but the one this time is unprecedented. As many as 40 CRPF personnel were martyred in a terrorist attack on 14th of February in Pulwama in Jammu and Kashmir.
India today is extremely angry. And I can tell you in my lifetime we've seen wars, we've seen human tragedies, we've seen our prime ministers being assassinated by terrorists. But the kind of anger which has been there, even on previous occasions, the one this time is unprecedented. There's a huge gap between the strength of the two countries. And Pakistan doesn't learn. And therefore, without getting into the details, I think, as the Prime Minister has said, India will exercise all instruments at its command.
Meanwhile, the centre has ordered the deployment of 100 companies of paramilitary forces in Kashmir. Without assigning any reason for the heavy deployment, the move comes after the government's crackdown on separatists and Jamaat-e-Islami leaders, including its chief Abdul Hamid Fayaz, who have already been detained. And earlier, JKLF chief Yasin Malik was detained on Friday amid indications of a wider crackdown on separatists in Jammu and Kashmir. Police and paramilitary forces have been put on high alert. The action comes 8 days after the audacious terror attack on a convoy in Pulwama district, in which 40 CRPF personnel lost their lives. And after reports of attacks on Kashmiris across the country, the centre on Friday asked all the states to ensure their security. The Ministry of Home Affairs issued an advisory to all the states following a directive of the Supreme Court, which took up a petition in this regard. The Home Ministry also said that the central government is concerned at the reports of the incidents of assaults and harassment against the residents of Jammu and Kashmir, especially students in some parts of the country. The issue was also raised before the Supreme Court, which directed that the nodal officers appointed by the states and union territories for the safety and security of the residents of Jammu and Kashmir would take necessary steps to prevent the acts of violence, discrimination and other coercive acts against Kashmiris. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump on Saturday said that India-Pakistan standoff in the aftermath of the Pulwama attack is a very dangerous situation. Describing the current situation between India and Pakistan as very bad, Donald Trump said that his administration was in contact with both the sides and hoped that the hostilities would soon end in the valley. Donald Trump said this to reporters as he met a senior Chinese official in the Oval Office. He said that right now there are a lot of problems between India and Pakistan because of what happened. Donald Trump's comments came after the Pulwama terror attack, in which 40 CRPF Jawans lost their lives. Pakistan-based terror outfit Jaish-e-Mohammed claimed responsibility for the attack. Meanwhile, succumbing to the intense international pressure to rein in the terror groups operating from its soil, the Pakistani government on Friday took over the administrative control of the headquarters of Jaish-e-Mohammed. It is noteworthy that the terror outfit Jaish-e-Mohammed had claimed responsibility for the Pulwama suicide attack that killed 40 CRPF soldiers in Jammu and Kashmir. The move came a day after the powerful United Nations Security Council named Jaish-e-Mohammed in a statement condemning in the strongest terms the heinous and cowardly terror attack executed by Pakistan-based Jaish-e-Mohammed in Pulwama. The UNSC also stressed on the need to hold the organizers and the financiers of such acts as accountable and bring them to justice. Pakistani Information Minister Fawad Chaudhry said that the government of Pakistan's Punjab has taken over the control of the Jaish-e-Mohammed headquarters in Bahawalpur and has appointed an administrator to manage its affairs. A statement issued by the Interior Ministry also said that the crackdown on Jaish-e-Mohammed has been taken in line with the decision of the National Security Committee meeting that was held on Thursday under the chairmanship of Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan. The Islamic seminaries in the campus has a faculty of 70 teachers and currently 600 students are studying in it. Pakistan on Thursday also banned the 2008 Mumbai attack mastermind Hafiz Saeed-led Jamaat-ud-Dawa and its charity wing Falah al-Insaniyat Foundation. Earlier, the two outfits were kept on the watch list of the Interior Ministry. The JUD, remember, is believed to be the front organization for the LET, which is responsible for carrying out the Mumbai terror attack that left 166 people dead. It has been declared as a foreign terrorist organization by the United States in June 2014. And Finance Minister Arun Jaitley defended the government raising demands with the Reserve Bank of India, saying that the country is more important than its institutions. Speaking at the Global Business Summit, the Finance Minister also made a strong remark for a government being elected with a clear majority in the upcoming general elections so as to provide stability to the economy and not force a change of guard within few months.
And more important, India needs a 5-year government, not a 6-month government. And I think a lot has changed, and I've repeatedly said this, that since I can see India becoming a more aspirational society, I'm quite certain that aspirational societies don't suffer from a lemmings complex and collectively commit a suicide. They resist from doing that. They're always more optimistic and hopeful for the future. And therefore, India should, in terms of policy and growth, be destined for a better tomorrow.
And in Midday News, we'll take a very short break here. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more news. Today, we take a closer look at government's decision to widen the startup definition.
The listed companies can now invest without any particular limit, as long as they like. It can. Because a lot of large companies who are sitting with their money, they can look at investing in startups, and there is no limit at all.
That if you want to flourish the startup industry, you have to give them level playing field with other countries, Singapore, Mauritius. You have to give the level playing field, na?
This is a welcome step in right direction. This will make it easy to do business. And startup, as you know, it carries lot of risk. We are talking about innovations. Innovations means lot of risk. It may happen, it may not happen.
Welcome back. After the break, in the huge tragedy in Assam, the death toll has risen to 69. 50 deaths have been reported from Golaghat district, while 19 people have lost their lives in Jorhat. Several people are still undergoing treatment and some more have also been admitted in various hospitals. The police and excise department are conducting raids against spurious liquor at Golaghat. 6 people have been arrested so far. Assam Chief Minister Sarbanand Sonowal has ordered an inquiry into the incident. 2 excise officials of the district have also been suspended. Meanwhile, the Uttarakhand Assembly on Friday passed a bill to amend the state excise law, making penal provisions for the manufacture, sale and supply of illicit liquor. Proposing an amendment to the United Provinces Excise Act, the State Excise Minister Prakash Pant said that it was necessary to make stricter laws to rein in those engaged in illicit liquor trade. Pant said that if someone dies of consuming illicit liquor, the perpetrators will get 7 to 10 years of imprisonment and will have to pay a fine of 5 to 10 lakh rupees. Remember, over 70 people had died earlier this month in Haridwar district of Uttarakhand and a neighbouring Saharanpur in Uttar Pradesh after consuming spurious liquor. Two alleged Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists have been arrested from Deoband in Saharanpur district of Uttar Pradesh. According to the Director General of Police, O.P. Singh, the two were posing as students and were involved in recruiting for the terror group. They have been identified as Shahnawaz Ahmed Teli and Aqib Ahmed Malik from Kulgam and Pulwama districts in Jammu and Kashmir, respectively. They were arrested on Thursday night in an operation headed by IG Anti-Terrorism Squad Asim Arun. The ATS recovered pistols from each of them with cartridges. Jihadi chats, videos and photographs were also recovered from them.
इनके कौन और भी साथी हैं, कौन इनके एसोसिएट्स हैं और क्या-क्या इनकी एक्टिविटीज़ रही हैं और कितने लोगों को इन्होंने रिक्रूट किया है, जिसके बारे में भी हमें जानकारी नहीं मिली है, लेकिन इस पर भी हम वर्क करेंगे, इसको फर्दर डीपली इन्वेस्टिगेट करेंगे। और सबसे बड़ी चीज़ है इसकी टेरर फंडिंग कौन कर रहा है। सो फंड के बारे में भी हम चाहेंगे कि हमको वो रहे और मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग कि इनका टारगेट क्या हो सकता था। तो इन सब चीज़ों पर फर्दर हम इन्वेस्टिगेशंस करेंगे और यही कारण है कि मैंने पुलिस कस्टडी रिमांड लेकर और इनको हम कोर्ट में प्रोड्यूस करने के बाद हम पुलिस कस्टडी रिमांड लेकर उनसे फर्दर डिटेल्स लेंगे।
And in less than 150 days since the launch, more than 12 lakh people have received treatment under the Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. Dr. Indu Bhushan, the CEO of Ayushman Bharat, said on Friday that around 2 crore beneficiary e-cards have been issued under the scheme. At least 15,000 hospitals have so far been empaneled under the scheme, out of which 15% are private hospitals, he said, urging more healthcare establishments to join the movement. Launched in September by the Prime Minister last year, the scheme has provided a secondary and tertiary care benefits worth over 600 crore to beneficiaries across the country. The scheme provides 5 lakh rupees per family annually, benefiting more than 10 crore poor families all over the country. News from Tamil Nadu now, where an AIADMK lawmaker and member of parliament died in a car accident 167 kilometers from Chennai early this morning. 62-year-old lawmaker S. Rajendran, who represented Villupuram parliamentary constituency, was on his way to Trivandrum when his driver lost control of the vehicle. The Villupuram legislature served as a member of the Standing Committee on Chemicals and Fertilizers and the Consultative Committee for the Ministry of Civil Aviation. Political news now. BJP President Amit Shah will be in Gorakhpur, Uttar Pradesh today, where he will inaugurate a two-day national convention of the BJP's Kisan Morcha. The conclave will be addressed by Amit Shah in the presence of Home Minister Rajnath Singh and Agriculture Minister Radha Mohan Singh. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will also be addressing the Farmers' Rally on 24th of February. More than 8,000 people are likely to attend the event. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, UP BJP Chief Mahendra Nath Pandey, Deputy Chief Minister Keshav Prasad Maurya are also expected to participate in the two-day convention. News from Bengaluru now, where women power is the highlight today of Aero India Show 2019. Highlighting the achievements of women in aviation, Women's Day is being celebrated at the Yelahanka base of the Indian Air Force. Badminton star PV Sindhu flew in Made in India Tejas aircraft a short while back. The day also showcased women's achievements in the aerospace sector. 3 women Indian Air Force fighter pilots also flew in the Hawk 1 advanced jet of the BAE systems and also an upgraded version of the Russian-made MiG-21. Women achievers in the sector were felicitated on the occasion, and a book and a film on women in aviation will be released. 61 aircrafts are on display and 403 exhibitors are participating in Aero India Show this year. The 5-day biennial air show will continue till 24th of February. Sports news now. The first International Shooting Sport Federation World Cup of 2019 for rifle and pistol kick-started from today in New Delhi at the Karni Singh shooting range. The opening ceremony of the event was held on Thursday. 500 shooters from 60 nations, are participating in the event with the 14 Olympic quotas up for grabs. A total of 35 shooters from India are participating, out of which 23 will be playing for the medal or the Olympic quota, and the remaining 12 will be shooting only for minimum qualification score. Of the 14 Tokyo 2020 berths on offer, India will be vying for 12 as the rifle shooters Anjum Modgil and Apurvi Chandela have already bagged 2 quota places for India. From the pistol shooting event, Rani Sarnobat, the first Indian woman to win an Asian Games gold, will be India's best hope in the women's 25 meters pistol. And former world number 1 Hina Sindhu and Youth Olympics and World Cup gold medalist Manu Bhaker will be India's ace shooters. While Asian Games gold medalist Saurabh Chaudhary and Abhishek Verma will lead the contingent in the men's shooting. The contingent of rifle shooters will be led by Tejaswini Sawant, the first woman from India to clinch a gold medal at the World Championship. And with that, we wrap up this edition of Midday News. Thanks for watching.